for this homily, think of your worst enemy. Didn't you call that a thought for some of us? Think of the person you hate most. I know hate is a strong word. Or of the person who maybe hates you the most. Okay? Because there's a story that's told of one day a man was walking along and a genie appeared to him. Have you heard this story before? And the genie said, I will give you 3 wishes, but whatever you ask for, your worst enemy gets double that. 3 wishes, but your worst enemy, gets double of what you ask for. What did you ask for? So the man thought long and hard, and he said, wouldn't it be fun to be the richest man on earth? He said, my first wish is for $50 billion. $50 billion. Boom, he got $50 billion, and his enemy got what? $100 billion. Second wish, he said, I'd really like to live securely. I'd like to have a big mansion, a good place to live in. Boom, got his mansion, and what did his enemy get? A mansion twice the size. 2 wishes down, 1 to go. He thought long and hard, and he said, I know. For my 3rd wish, I'd like to be beaten until I'm half dead. In today's gospel, we have the story of a man who was beaten until he was half dead. And the surprise in the story is that the person who came and took care of him was not one of the good people in the stories. In fact, it was our enemy. Let's talk about jokes for a moment. Have you ever noticed with jokes? Have you ever heard jokes that begin with lines like this? A priest and a rabbi and a Baptist minister walked into a bar. Have you heard jokes that begin like that? Yeah. Or this joke, maybe you heard before. What's the difference between a Catholic and a Baptist? What's the difference between a Catholic and a Baptist? If you're in a liquor store, the Catholic will say hello. What happens with jokes like that is that they play off of stereotypes, which are always dangerous. You follow me? As if all Catholics were the same, or as if all Baptists were the same. You follow me? As if all Baptists abstained from alcohol and all Catholics were drunks. Right? They play off stereotypes, which is always dangerous. This has been a dangerous week, filled with various stereotypes concerning persons of various races, right? Think Black Lives Matter. Or concerning stereotypes of persons in various occupations. Think Blue Lives Matter. But it's always dangerous to work in stereotypes and think that every person who's part of a group is a certain way. Follow me? To think that every person who's part of whatever race is a certain way, or to think that every person who's part of an occupation is a certain way. Stereotypes can be dangerous. In today's gospel, Jesus plays off of people's stereotypes. Because in Jesus' day, they told jokes and stories, but it wasn't about a priest, a rabbi, and a minister. They told stories in Jesus' day about the priest, the Levite, and the Jew. Follow me now. In Jesus' day, there was a common storytelling pattern where you would talk about what the priest did, and what the Levite did, and what the Jew did. In today's gospel, Jesus takes those stereotypes of priests, those who helped in the temple, of Levites, those were the priest's helpers, the altar servers in those days. But instead of talking about the good Jew, who did Jesus talk about? The Samaritan. For us to understand this fully, the Samaritans we did not like. We hated the Samaritans. The Samaritans. In today's gospel, the lawyer, and we won't tell any lawyer jokes today, but the lawyer in today's gospel can't even say the word Samaritan. He hates them so much. Follow me? So for Jesus to tell this story, but to turn it on, it wasn't a story about a priest, a Levite, and a Jew. It was a story about a priest, a Levite, and a what? A Samaritan. And who was the good person in the story? Well, of course, it had to be the priest, right? That the priest saw the guy, and the priest probably stooped down and was filled with compassion. No. The priest saw the guy, looked the other way, and kept on going. Oh, I'm late for Mass. Then along came the Levite, the altar server. As good as he or she was in that day. Looked at the person, looked the other way, and kept on going. I better get to Mass because if not, Father Jayme's going to give me a hard time. Better not stop and help that person. Who was the good person in the story? That's the question Jesus asks. And the lawyer says, he can't even say the word Samaritan. He has to say, the one who treated him with compassion. Brothers and sisters, go and do likewise. The Samaritan in that story is the one who lives on now, because we keep using that phrase, right? We talk about people being good Samaritans. Today we talk about it as if we don't even, as if it's a good thing. In Jesus' day, that was the enemy. And if they could love the enemy and see how the enemy in that day helped others, then what's our excuse? The good church-going people that we are. Amen? What's our excuse? Today's first reading in today's gospel talk about how we need to love God with our whole heart and our whole soul. How we need to love others in the same way that you love yourself. And think about that challenge for a moment. I said that too quickly. Let me say it again. That we need to love others in the same way that we love ourselves. How would you want someone else to treat you if you were beaten and left half dead on the road? Okay? That's how you need to treat someone else. How would you like to be treated if you were poor or down in your luck or suffering from whatever illness and you were standing on a street corner begging for money? How would you want to be treated? Yikes, that's how we have to treat others. If you're in whatever situation with that person you don't like, how would you like to be talked to if you were that person? That's how you need to talk to that person yourself. Yikes. Today's readings are tough. If we're going to love God with our whole heart and our whole soul, as today's reading suggests, then I suggest that we think of our hearts as being sort of like a pocket. Follow me now. Any of us wearing pockets? If you're wearing a pocket right now, take your hand, take your fist, and put it into your pocket for a moment. And tell me, when you put your hand into your pocket, how much more room is left in your pocket? Could you get your cell phone in there? Maybe. How much other stuff can you get in there? Because your heart is like your pocket. And if anger, like your hand, is filling your heart, how much room is left for God and for others? Follow me? If your heart is filled with anger or hatred or negativity or all sorts of other feelings, how much room is in your heart for love? Brothers and sisters, I suspect it's time to take that out of our hearts. Take out the hatred. Take out the resentments. Take out the negativity. Everything that we wish poorly for other people. Time to take that out and make more room for love. So that we can love God and love others as Jesus suggested.